Hi, it's Torsten. I have 20 years of Linux experience and I want to share it all with you in 10 minutes. If you want to list files, go for ls-later. This way, you will see the files sorted by date, so you will get an overview of the latest file that you created or changed. If you always want the command ls to behave like ls-later, use an alias. To find out which aliases you have, use the command alias. To set an alias for ls, use for example this command. Alias ls equals ls ---- color equals auto minus later. Now, whenever you type ls, it will behave like ls-later. If you want this setting to survive a terminal restart, use .bashrc. .bashrc will be executed for you whenever you start the bash shell. In this case, you can just say vi.bashrc in order to modify it. Then you search using the slash for the latest occurrence of alias ls. Type enter, type n for next. And here I have already done it. I have put in alias ls equals ls-later ---- color equals auto. I type escape : wq, enter, and I have saved it by this. And now let's restart the terminal. Now let's test what the alias is set. Alias ls, enter, and it tells you it is set to ls-later. So I type ls and I see what I want. To start a program, just type its name. In this case, let's choose xeyes. Xeyes is a small utility which has two eyes which follow the mouse cursor. So now that I have called this program, I cannot use the console any longer. You see? So in order to change this, I stop the program using CTRL+Z, and the program will now be stopped and the eyes won't follow the mouse any longer. In order to fix that, I send it to the background using the command bg. And it is following the mouse cursor again. To find out what kernel you are running, use the command uname -a. It will show you that your kernel is named Linux, and in my case, you are running on x86-64 hardware. To find out what distribution you are on, use the command lsbrelease -d. It will show you that in this case, we are running on Ubuntu 22.04. With older distributions, you still have to use the command cat/etc/*ele* and enter, and also then you will be able to find out what distribution you are running. To see what's happening on your computer, type the command top. It will show you processors, how much CPU they consume, and how much memory they consume. To see the distinct processors, type 1. To make this, to revert this, type again 1. To get out of this, type Q. To clear the screen, type clear. If you want to know how much disk space is being used by your folders, use the command du-sch*. If you want to know how much disk is free, use the command df-h, like disk-free human readable. Then you will find, for example, that all folders that are below the slash folder, which are not in one of the other folders, have 45% in use. To see if you are connected to the internet, ping a name server, for example 8.8.8.8. Type enter, and when you want to finish, type CTRL+Z. To find out your own IP address, type IPAS, like IP address show. To download a website, use the command wget. In this case, we will be downloading index.html, and now we can have a look at it using the command cut. And it will look exactly like when you look on the browser source code like when you look at the HTML source code in the browser. When mastering the console, autocompletion is your friend. It works with the tabulator key. Let me show you. I type ls, then slash, then v, and now I type tabulator key, and it autocompletes to var, because there's only one directory in the slash directory that starts with v. Now let me type lo, and I type tabulator, and it beeps. That means there's more than one option. So I type tabulator again, and it shows me all options that I have. Then I see these folders really exist. Var log. Now let's say I want to see var log messages. Var log messages is the system log. Okay, so I type mes tab tab tab. And I recall that this is a Debian, so the system log is not called var log messages, but var log syslog. Type enter, and I can see the file var log syslog, and let's have a look at it. A lot of messages from the system. So using auto-completion has a lot of advantages. First, you don't have to type so much. You just type enter and it is being auto-completed. That's the obvious thing. Second, you get shown all alternatives that you can have. And third, if a file does not exist, you also realize it while typing. Now, my favorite program is cat because it's so easy to explain and so complicated to understand. Cat just takes what it gets and outputs it. Period. It does nothing else. So that means I type the command cat and I type hello and it will output hello. Okay, and I type now Control+C to get out of this. And what have we seen? It gives that cat. Okay, but we can use this under Linux because we can redirect the output to a file. Cat greater file1.txt, enter. And now I type hello world, and I type an Ö instead of an O. So we'll see about this later. So I type enter, I type Control+D. Control+D means end of file, and now I type cat file, and it just works like type under DOS. So it just outputs what's in the file, because of course you can also redirect the input. So this way it outputs what the content of file is as input onto the console, which is the output. Now let's write hello world also into a second file. Type again hello world, again enter, again Control+D, and I type ls file fill tabulator star, and I see two files. File 1, which is file 2, which we expected. But one has a size of 13 bytes and the other size of 12 bytes, which is probably what you did not expect. And the reason is that the Ö is represented as 2 bytes, not 1 byte. Say cat file1.txt, it contains an Ö. File 2.txt, it does not contain an Ö. So how can we show these things byte by byte? For this, we have the command hexdump. Hexdump -c, file1.txt, shows us here that the first character is 68 hexadecimal, which stands for small h, then 65, which stands for E, 2 times L, and then a special character, which is 3CB6. And this is an Ö. And this cannot be output as a normal character with 256 bits, 256 meanings. And this is why it is output as a dot here with hexdump -c. So with hexdump -c file2.txt, it is differently. And here we see that after the H, E, L, L, just a normal character comes, which is 6F, then 20 for space, then world, and in the end we see 0A, which stands for new line or carriage return. And what we have seen here is Unicode. So Unicode means that not all characters can be represented with exactly 1 byte. Sometimes you have to use 2 or more bytes for a character, and the specification for this is the Unicode specification. And I think we are now at a point where it pays to be more concise, where we continue with a special video on networking, a special video on hard disks or on process management. Like, how do you see what open files you have? How does it relate to network sockets? How do you find out what's going on in your network stack, like with TCP dump? How do you go about partitions and formatting and file systems. And this is a great world, and I would say let's discuss this in the comments.